Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about the Traitors US episode 9. It's such a sad one. I think we all know why, but honestly, it's going to be a really short, easy breezy one, so let's do it. We're back in the turret with Carolyn and Danielle is really frustrated that Carolyn won't bring Brittany in because remember, at the last episode, they either had the option to murder somebody or to recruit a traitor. And the way that Danielle is painting herself to be such a victim in all of this. Like the way that she tells Carolyn that they can murder somebody, she goes, "Fine, I guess we can murder someone, even though I've already made so many sacrifices." What are you talking about? What sacrifices have you made? I feel like Carolyn has been the one who has just been like stomped on this whole filming process. She's barely been allowed to express an opinion. Now she finally gets more of a say since Boston Rob is gone, and now it's still like, oh, Danielle is the victim and Carolyn is the one just stomping all over her. It's like, give me a break. And this was a little annoying. I feel like I need to stop scrolling through the Traitors subreddit because it was pointed out that like in the last episode, in the preview for this current episode, they showed like a picture of the chessboard that they would eventually use in today's challenge, and somebody pointed out that Sam's name wasn't on the chessboard. So I've known since like last week that Sam was the one they were gonna murder. So like a little annoying. I feel like I have to be so much more careful with that subreddit. I'm super not into spoilers. I honestly barely like theorizing because I feel like theorizing can get into spoiler territory. So like this was not suspenseful for me at all because I knew Sam would get murdered because his name wasn't on the chessboard. Gabby comes into breakfast and the first thing she says is that the smoked salmon looks good. I literally love her because here's the thing, smoked salmon is delicious, and not only is it really delicious, but it is so expensive. So if I was Gabby and I had access to free smoked salmon every single day, I would probably also be commenting on it. And this episode, the way they do a complete 180 on us is so crazy. It was such a roller coaster. Gabby, first thing she tells Carolyn is she's all in on the Danielle theory. Gabby is like, Danielle is killing off all of her friends so she doesn't look suspicious. So like she is the first one to tell Carolyn that she's ready to vote for Danielle. They do kill Sam. Sam is the one who doesn't walk into the room, obviously. And I mean, they kind of made it obvious in the turret too. It's not like they really were like weighing all their different options. Sam's name comes up a lot. Tom Sandoval tells Gabby that he's still suspicious of Dolores. This has been going on this entire season, and I think it's gonna go on until the end. He says it's because she's not scared of dying and she doesn't seem too eager to get a shield. It's not because she's a traitor, it's because she doesn't care. Like, it's very clear that, like, the richer people playing this game, like the housewives and, like, the reality TV stars, they don't care about the money. They don't give a shit. And, like, Dolores isn't a gamer at all. I feel like she's kind of wondering why she's here. I feel like there was a blind item about her that was like, yeah, Dolores was just completely uninterested in the game the entire time she was in the castle. That's why she is looking suspicious to you. Like, she's looking like she doesn't care. It's because she actually doesn't care, but it's not because she's a traitor. Now, Dylan is saying that he's suspicious of Danielle because he thinks that somebody who trusts him is bringing him into the end, which makes sense because it's like, it seems like all of the faithfuls think that he is a confirmed faithful, so he would never get banished. And so I feel like if you're a traitor, you want to kill the faithfuls that would never get banished. Like, you want to kill the faithfuls who wouldn't be like suspicious to the other faithfuls. So it is interesting that he made it all the way to the end. And he thinks that it's because of Danielle. Like, I read this in the subreddit, but apparently in interviews, like, there was this alliance that like never made it on screen. And I think Dylan was in an alliance with Carolyn, Danielle, and I want to say maybe Ivar. Then here's the thing, the theatrics in the Traitors, I don't need it. It's not that serious. Brittany is talking to Danielle by the fireplace, and she starts crying, telling Danielle like she was so emotional at the thought of her not coming back. They're just like both so dramatic. I like need them to relax. I mean, here's the thing about these reality TV shows. Like, they say this about Love Island all of the time. Like, when you're in it, They take your cell phone away. You're not allowed to do any of your hobbies. There's no reading, there's no watching TV. All you're doing is like being with each other. So they say that like when you're in that environment, it feels like your whole world. And like, I get it. I totally get how that can happen. But like, Love Island is filmed over the course of like 3 months. It's like a really long time. In the Traitors, it's been like what, like 2 weeks, 10 days. Like it's a little too much to be doing all of this. And then now Danielle is crying in the confessional because she feels so guilty about being a traitor and having to betray Brittany. It's like all a little too much for me. I will say I've never seen Big Brother. I don't know their season. I think apparently this is like a big deal because I think Brittany and Danielle were feuding on Big Brother, and I think maybe Brittany fucked Danielle over. So I do think it's like notable that they like have this alliance now going to the end. The challenge for today is a really hard challenge for the Traitors. And it's like, it's honestly the first challenge that I've seen the show do where like it actually is designed to catch traitors, which I think is good. I wish we had more of those. But essentially, Alan presented Danielle, and Carolyn with a series of questions like, which faithful is the most likely to do this? Or which faithful do you have this opinion about? And Carolyn and Danielle had to provide answers with the names of the faithfuls. And so now in the challenge, there's like this big chessboard with everybody's names on them. Alan is going to repeat the questions that he asked Danielle and Carolyn, and the faithfuls have to guess what the traitors answered to that question. They bring Kate and Parvati in to answer the questions, which is like really cute. There's like really no purpose of them being there, just like a cute little cameo, but it was fun. I feel like Kate is probably the only person besides Alan to literally be in all 3 seasons of the Traitors. I've actually never seen Traitors season 1. I know how it ends, but like I kind of want to watch it because apparently she and the winner Suri are like really iconic in it. So it makes sense that they keep bringing Kate back. Like she was really iconic in season 1. I think people really love her, even though honestly, like for me, last season, season 2, she was kind of like getting on my nerves. Like I thought she was kind of annoying, but like maybe watching season 1 will help change my mind. The first question is, who do the traitors think is their biggest threat? And Tom immediately goes, oh yeah, like I think it's me. I think the faithfuls think that I'm their biggest threat. The obvious answer is Dylan to this question. The obvious answer is Dylan. Tom immediately goes like, oh no, yeah, totally, like that's me. So they're asking all of these questions, and Carolyn and Danielle's objective is to essentially pretend like they don't know the answers to the questions, right? Because they're the ones who answered the questions. And this is Carolyn's fatal mistake. This is truly what got her sent home at the end. She was just being too vocal. She was being too vocal. She had too many opinions. She cared too much about the money. As a traitor, in my opinion, you cannot care about the money. Let the faithfuls like accumulate the money in the prize pot. Your job is to just stay alive. And Carolyn put so much suspicion on herself by being like, no, actually, I think it's this. I think the traitors would say this. When she was doing that, I was like, Carolyn, what are you doing? It was such a like obviously dumb move, and it made me so sad to see her do that because I was like, oh, you're fucked. Like, this looks so suspicious. Like, one of the questions is like, who do you think is the leader of the pack? Who do the traitors think is the leader of the faithful pack? The obvious answer to that is Dylan. That is just so obvious. That's what the faithfuls are gonna say. And then Carolyn comes in. She's trying so hard to get the right answer. She's like, no, actually, I think it's Tom. Like, wouldn't it make sense that the traitors would say Tom? And none of the faithfuls think that. And Carolyn is like really pushing hard. And then of course, Tom is the right answer because the Carolyn and Danielle picked him to be the right answer. And Dolores of all people immediately gets suspicious of Carolyn being like, that's a little weird that you were the only one who knew the answer to that question. All of the faithfuls were gonna say Dylan. Just go with what the faithfuls are saying. It's really not a good look for Carolyn. And Suri actually posted on her story, she was like, Carolyn, you really shouldn't have done that. But it's just not a good look. And then now after the challenge, Danielle and Carolyn are both kind of taking aside their respective allies. Like the Traitors has been hyping this episode to be like the Danielle versus Carolyn episode. And at first, like with Carolyn in the morning, like everybody was telling Carolyn, I am ready to vote for Danielle. And now after the challenge, like everybody is between the both of them, essentially. Danielle is trying to get people to vote against Carolyn and vice versa. And then the round table is just so ugly. Like the round table just made me really sad. Like Carolyn's whole argument is like, you had no reason to lie. You had no reason to lie and tell people that I brought up your name when I never brought up your name to Brittany. And Danielle is like, no, well, you did. You did bring up Brittany's name. And we know from past turrets that Danielle is like, no, technically that is true because you brought up Brittany's name as somebody to murder. So annoying. Just like so annoying. Shut up. And it's hard because Carolyn's only argument against Danielle is you had no reason to lie. You had no reason to lie. To this day, I have no idea why nobody is bringing up Danielle's suspicious behavior in that challenge from like 3 weeks back, where if she could put up her picture frame, she would get a shield. And she never puts up her picture frame once, and she puts up other people's frames. I have no clue why nobody is bringing that up. Dolores was suspicious of it at the time. I think Tom was suspicious of it at the time. It is so weird to me that nobody is bringing that up. And then Danielle's whole argument against Carolyn is that she's pretending to be stupid. And like, I like really did not like this. This put a really bad taste in my mouth. This felt so just like ugly on behalf of Danielle. It felt like she was making fun of Carolyn. It felt like she was just making fun of like who she is. She calls her Columbo at first. She's like, oh yeah, you're like pretending to be Columbo, which is like Columbo's whole thing is that he's a very smart person who pretends to be dumb. But then she goes like, you're Forrest Gumping your way through the Traitors, which is like, whoa. Like my boyfriend and I were watching that. We saw that and we were like, whoa, Danielle, like that was just so ugly. Because that is like I understand that Forrest Gump wasn't stupid, but to me, it kind of sounds like Forrest Gump wasn't stupid, but he was like mentally challenged. And it felt like Danielle was calling Carolyn mentally challenged, which like I want to believe isn't her intent. I really don't think that's what it was, but like it was just like really a wrong choice of words. And she actually tweeted today, I'll put a screenshot of the tweet. She tweeted today like doubling down on that. I guess it was something that somebody else said on Big Brother like 20 years ago. And she's like, guys, like somebody else said it on Big Brother 20 years ago. It's totally fine. But like that was really ugly. And I feel like people are really giving her shit for it right now. And like, I just thought that was really, really bad. I really didn't like that. And then we get to voting, and the way that Carolyn lost this lead, I feel like in the morning, everybody was ready to vote for Danielle. And it's like an almost unanimous vote for Carolyn to be banished. Tom and Dolores voted for each other. Dolores is voting for Tom because she hates him, but I've heard like a blind item or something from the interviews that like Tom votes for Dolores every week because he genuinely thinks that she's a traitor. Apparently, he's been on to her since like week 2, and he just wouldn't let it go the entire time in the castle. But Carolyn is banished. She was like crying at the round table. It was really, really sad. And then I thought her speech with going home was like, it was a good speech. And at the end, she says being a traitor isn't fun. And like, that's what I've been saying. I do not think she had a good experience on the show at all. I think Danielle and Boston Rob and Bob the Drag Queen just like completely stomped all over her. I'm gonna be honest, I think 4 traitors is too much. I wish they would keep it to 3 max. And then, God help us all, when Carolyn gets voted out, the theatrics that Danielle is putting on when she realizes that she's a traitor, she's like convulsing on the floor. Gabby and Dolores like bend down and are like comforting her. I'm like, leave this woman alone. The theatrics, that is like so, it was doing way too much. I am so sick of Danielle's fake tears. They are so annoying. I just like, here's the thing, is like, it's very possible that Danielle is getting a villain edit. And I do think that some of the people hating on her are doing like a bit much. Like they're I think taking it to extremes. But like, let me tell you, that villain edit is working. She is feeling like a villain 100%. Like the shaking and crying on the ground, I just do not put up with those level of theatrics like in my real life. I don't want to see Danielle doing it. I can't believe that nobody is calling her out with those fake tears. I remember a few episodes ago, maybe like week 3 or 4, a group of the girls, I think it was like Sierra and Chriselle and like maybe Nikki, were calling out Danielle. They were kind of talking about her, being like, yeah, the fake crying is a little much. People aren't getting murdered for real. And I think it's like that is just what's so annoying. But like, if I was Danielle, I'd be like, well, clearly it's working. I'm like the last traitor left. I'm making it to the end. So like, a lot of people are accusing her of bad gameplay, but I'm like, how can it be bad gameplay? She's the last traitor left. She's making it to the end. And then this is what makes me really nervous. So Gabby, Brittany, and I don't know who else, maybe Tom and Dolores are all talking. And Gabby is like, didn't that feel like traitor on traitor fighting at the round table to you? She brings up Bob the drag queen and Boston Rob, and she's like, it honestly felt like that. Like it felt like traitor on traitor fighting. And I was so happy she brought that up. I was like, oh my God, maybe they're finally gonna get Danielle out next episode. But then Danielle is in the turret and Alan comes in and tells her that she has to recruit somebody. And of course she's going to recruit Brittany. She does end up trying to recruit Brittany. And this makes me think that Gabby is going to get murdered by them, because Gabby told Brittany essentially that she is suspecting Danielle. She told Brittany that felt like traitor on traitor fighting. So Brittany in her confessional is like, is it really Danielle? Like, is Danielle really a traitor? Wouldn't that feel so obvious if she recruited me? But like, that is what's happening. I'm wondering what the faithfuls are going to think, like if it's going to feel obvious. I feel like the next person the faithful are going to target is probably Brittany. But yeah, I think the traitors do think that there is one left, and I think it's between Danielle and Brittany. But I think once Brittany gets recruited, they're gonna kill Gabby next, because Gabby is onto Danielle. Last season, I don't really know who I was rooting for, the traitors or the faithfuls. I think it was actually pretty neutral. This season, I am rooting for the faithfuls so hardcore. I have never wanted the faithfuls to win more. Ideally, Dylan and Gabby would win. That would be like the ideal. They win together, they split the money, and it goes great. Tom and Dolores, I think they are gonna make it to the end because they're true faithfuls, unless Brittany and Danielle murder them. I think they're both gonna make it to the end with whoever else, but they're not gonna wanna win for each other. So Tom and Dolores are both gonna make it to the end, and then they're both gonna lead the campaign to banish the other one, because I do not think they want to win together at all. So that's like really funny. This like unexpected rivalry between them is so funny. I live for it. Some people think it's really annoying that like Dolores is throwing all of her votes away, but I'm like, you know what? Dolores has been giving literally nothing all season. This feud that she has with Tom is hilarious, and I'm glad for it. Side note, before I go, did you guys see the poem that Carolyn posted on her Instagram story? Apparently she kept like a journal during her time in the castle, and she wrote a poem about Danielle. I'm gonna put it here so you can watch it.
So in Scotland, I kept a journal, and I wrote a bunch of poems. So here's one of them. Imagine loving this show and being so excited to have fun and play this game, and then you show up with your JCPenney hat wanting to play hard. I get it, girl, but we're not the same. They say that expectations will leave you frustrated and sad. I didn't expect to be around constant shaking and crying, so yeah, I guess that was my bad. You're not just a traitor. You're keeping Visine in business too. JK, girl, I hope that those Big Brother fans are proud of you. Good game.
Honestly, I love her. I think she is who she is, and I think she's unashamed of it. Yeah, she's like quirky, and she makes all of these quirky faces, but like, whatever. That doesn't mean she's dumb. That doesn't mean she's insincere. It doesn't mean she's putting on an act. Some people are just different. She's like different. She's unique. She's truly herself. I feel bad for her that she got a really bad rap. I would love to see her come back in a future season, maybe in like a Kate way, like maybe she comes back and she like really plays the game again, or maybe she just gets to have like a fun little moment in season 4, because I feel like she really got like a bad experience in the castle, and it just made me feel bad. I don't know. But that is everything I have for you today. Really short and sweet. I can't wait to see what happens this Thursday. If you haven't seen it yet, I posted a recap of Love is Blind episodes 6 through 9, so you can go to my channel to go ahead and watch that. And you can also tune in a couple days. I'll be posting my recap of the new episodes of of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and Summer House. But thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time.